Welcome to the Nestled podcast. I'm April.
And I'm Bailey. We are friends and neighbors who left our design business to champion a message of hospitality.
We live in a time where deep connections are so hard to come by.
But we want no part of that.
Our desire is for people around us to be seen, heard, and known.
And we want to take you on that journey with us.
So come back each week to take a peek in our nest.
As always, the door will be open. Hey everybody, welcome back.
Welcome to the Nestled podcast.
I'm Bailey.
And I'm April.
And we're so glad that you're here.
Yes, we're still in our series on comparison, and we are so glad that you guys have been reaching out to us and telling you the things that have struck a chord with you or something that you have resonated with, and it's just been a really encouraging series. We have had a fun time.
We have, and we are working on what our next one is going to be.
Yes, we're excited about what's coming up when this one's done.
Yep, so stay tuned. We'll announce that in the next couple of weeks, I guess.
Yep.
We have one more week of regular conversation, and then we're going to wrap this up with our husbands talking about their viewpoint
on some of these topics.
Yeah, on comparison from a man's perspective. So we're excited about that too.
Yeah.
So yay. If you are enjoying this and you haven't done it already, we would love it if you would leave us a review on iTunes. We have gotten some new ones lately and we really appreciated that, and we love your feedback. And so if you could head over that way, especially if you're a regular listener, and do that for us, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, it helps people to find the podcast and helping it to grow and get out the message of hope in Jesus. And as we continue on in our Nestled, right now we've been in Nestled with him for a little while, but also if you haven't been around long enough, we are actually really about having people in your home and opening your home up and loving people with the way that you live your life. And so, yeah, we'll get back to that soon.
Yep, that's coming.
But it is not without purpose that we've been talking about being nestled in Him, because we can't love other people if we can't get ourselves together as far as just kind of killing that stuff in us of envy and resentment and whatever builds up and bitterness and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you truly cannot love other people well whenever that's still there.
Yes.
And it is so prominent in so many of our lives, in so many areas. Mm-hmm. And so we hope for those of you who have been listening along that you've been really taking an inward look and trying to clear some of that stuff out and finding freedom for that. And we hope that as we move into the next series, that is more about loving your home and loving people in your home, that your hearts will be more prepared to step into that.
Yeah, we didn't ever intend to do an entire series on comparison, but it was just something that everyone really connected with, and we were like, well, let's talk about it.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyway, if you guys were in our homes over the last several weeks, these are the conversations that we would love to be having with you face to face. But this is our avenue of doing that, and so we're glad that you guys have listened in.
Yes.
So we're going to jump in today, and we're going to talk a little bit about comparison from our point of view with families, but we're going to kind of lean a little bit more towards some things that we have seen with comparison with mommies and comparison with your kids.
Yes. So, mommy wars.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, goodness. I mean, mommy wars have always been a thing.
Yeah.
I think we can say that, but it's definitely getting worse. Mm-hmm. And I think, obviously, we always say social media, which I don't think social media is the devil, but it does contribute to a lot of these comparison issues, because we have another viewpoint to see into what we feel like is other people's lives. So there's that. But it's also that so many people are able to become, like, quote-unquote experts on things, and then they like to impart their wisdom. Mm-hmm. And I think that has, like, caused a dramatic increase.
Yes.
In the mommy
and
people
have the platform to put their quote unquote expertise out there. And not only do they make people look at them and think, I'm not living up, but they also put out a facade of what's not reality. We've talked a lot about mommy blogs that are out there, and let's just be really transparent, you guys. you're still only getting a snapshot.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
all of the best advice, and their kids aren't sleeping through the night either.
Right.
They may have all the best laid plans, but their kids did still talk back to them. Or whatever.
Right.
You know, I feel like people put this advice out there and act as though it has made their kids. I mean, we cannot make our kids do anything.
Right. Look, this is why we don't have a parenting podcast. We always say we're not a parenting podcast, and this is why. Because our kids can be awful, and I don't want to teach you how to parent them the way I do. I love my babies so much. They're so wonderful, but they also, like, I don't want to pretend that I have found this perfect formula that has created children who never drive me up the wall.
Right.
Like, we have a lot of fun.
Yes.
I enjoy my kids. We're making great memories. Like, I hope that they're seeing Jesus in me and learning about Jesus. And, like, but they are sinners.
Right. Well, and I think that there is a difference in that we have a philosophy of parenting and what we want the end result of that to be, but we don't really know exactly how to get there. We're really changing directions a lot to try to figure it out.
Right.
And our kids are not robots. We don't just program them and then all of a sudden they do all the right things. They're human beings with hearts and minds and souls and wills.
Right.
And as we've recently been talking about, as something we've been studying, which is a completely different subject, but we've heard people talk about, like, the strong-willed child and how you have to get them to submit. And Bailey was reading something that said, that's not actually a strong-willed child at all. That's a weak-willed child.
Well, what I was reading, it was actually a quote from someone in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So this was a long time ago that she was talking about it. And so this has been a thing since back then, you know. But she was saying, like, don't tell me that your child is so strong-willed that they can't listen to you. A strong-willed child is strong enough to say, I want to do this thing, but I'm not supposed to. It's not the time for it, so I'm going to fight that and then choose to do the right thing instead. She's like, a weak-willed child is the one that's like, I want to do this, so I'm going to do it whether you want me to or not. And I was like, oh.
That's really good.
That's good, you know. And I have mulled over that a little bit.
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot of, like, no, I want my children to be able to submit to authority and understand what... Anyway, this is totally not about mommy wars, but it's this thing of, like, we don't have these robots. That was my point in saying that.
Right.
And if we're treating our children as though Okay, so here's something I struggled with for a long time. I wanted my kids to just fall in line. I'm a perfectionist, and so I want you to do these things because to me, everything is a moral right and wrong. And so you doing something that is not morally right is not only a reflection of you, but a reflection of me.
Right.
Instead, I started putting on my kids as though their behavior was my parenting. A plus B does not always equal C.
Amen.
And so, I don't know, it's just like a very freeing thing when you can kind of come down to, okay, I don't have any control over this.
Right. We all know people who are fantastic people and wonderful, loving parents whose kids just took a path that they would never have imagined was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's a reality that we all have to, like, humbly accept. Like, we're going to do the best that we can. And then at some point, it's up to our kids which way they go. And so be gentle on yourself and be gentle on others and know that we're all trying to do the best we can. Now, the mommy war starts early. It starts before you ever even have a baby.
Yeah.
And people are wanting to know, are you going to breastfeed or bottle feed? And everyone has an opinion.
What kind of car seat are you going to use?
Oh, my
goodness.
And
are you going to use it properly?
Right. I've had multiple car seat messages on Facebook, but I had someone message me before we took Miller home whenever I took a picture of her in her car seat. And they messaged me and said she was too small for that car seat. And I'm like, she's a 5-pound baby. This is the smallest, like, it's an infant carrier. Like, she'll grow into it. We're not leaving the house much. They, you know, and they said, well, I can send you some suggestions of smaller car seats. Well, I'm not buying another car seat because my baby was born less than 6 pounds.
Yeah. Well, so
I mean, I'm just, like, that's the kind of stuff that's on. We had somebody message when we first got home from Columbia that Maisie's car seat clip was too low. It wasn't high enough. Yes, I know that it is safer to have it up high. But what I had to say back to her was, she's 4.5 and she's never been in a car seat.
Yes.
And strapping her into the car seat was very hard to do. She also didn't know English, so it was hard to explain. And I would put the clip in the right area, but she would always pull it down.
Because she's a weak-willed child.
Because she is a weak-willed child, right, okay? And so, anyway, like, I'm like, we're doing the best we can. The fact that I had a photo of her in the car seat where she wasn't screaming was already a win. Mm-hmm. And, like, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But maybe let's just, like, I know we all want our friends' kids to be safe. And so I'm not trying to harp on the car seat stuff. But that's just, like, what popped in my mind of, like, in both those situations,
right.
I'm doing the best I can. And, like, it doesn't feel good to have somebody insinuate that you are putting your child in a less than safe situation.
Right. Yeah.
What did we come home from the hospital in, car seat wise?
I remember.
You know what I mean? Like, when I was 4.5, I wasn't in a car seat. She was in a 5-point harness.
I remember in early elementary school, I had to be before 3rd grade because we moved in 3rd grade. I can remember riding in the back window of my mom's car.
Well,
like, in the window part.
Here's something you don't hear very often anymore. We'll just double buckle. Look, I'm glad.
My kids say that. I'm not even going to lie. There's too many of us.
I'm glad that we've come a long way, safety-wise.
Right.
At keeping our kids safer. So I'm just saying, like, that is just a small snapshot of the mommy wars. And then, like, you know, people who literally can't make enough milk.
Yeah.
All people cannot make enough milk to see feed their babies. And then their babies are miserable and screaming.
Right.
Because everyone's saying, no, they're getting enough. Sometimes that's true.
But sometimes
there's a problem.
Yeah. And the problem comes when we think that our experience and our, whatever our circumstances have been that have led us to a certain path are always the right thing and they're right for everyone else.
Right.
And put your kids in a car seat. I'm not saying that. We're not.
Safely.
Yes, we're not advocating for just do whatever. Right. But at the end of the day, and I say that a lot because, I don't know, I realized last podcast I said that. Anyway, after it's all said and done, I'll change it up. What is our purpose as parents? Our purpose is, as Christian parents, is to train up our children in the ways of the Lord, to teach them what it looks like to love Him and to love people, and hopefully guide them to a place that they desire to see the glory of God the most it can be revealed through their lives. Mm-hmm. So we do that by example, but that can look a lot of different ways. I have to parent all 5 of my kids differently. Right. So for me to think that how I'm parenting one of my kids is the way that everyone else should parent their kids is just foolish.
Yeah.
It's very foolish.
It is. And it's public school, private school, homeschool.
Oh my gosh.
It's organic, gluten-free. No, you know, I mean, it leaks into
everything. Do
you let your kids watch the iPad? Do you not let your kids watch the iPad? And look, I have strong opinions on all these things. I'm not going to pretend like I don't, but I have strong opinions on these things for my family and what has worked and what hasn't worked. And so I intentionally parent my kids.
Yeah.
Every decision I make, pretty much, I've put thought and vaccinating versus not vaccinating. You know, I'm putting thought and effort and research into it, and I just need people to trust that. And I need to trust you guys that you're doing the best that you can for your kids, and it's not going to look the same, and that's okay. And we all need to give each other a break, and we all need to cheer each other on.
Right. Instead of being condescending and acting as though there's one way or our way is the right way and your way is the wrong way, if we approached our relationship with other moms in a way of like, this is stinking hard.
Yes.
There are days that I feel like a failure.
Right.
I feel like somewhere I'm missing something. My kids are going to turn out to be horrible human beings, possibly leading a gang. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And instead of somebody coming at me and saying, I noticed that you took your kids to McDonald's today, if they were like, you know what? I just want to encourage you that you're doing such a good job.
Right.
Like, all of your kids had clothes on today. Good job, Mom.
Right. Can we all...
Everyone ate dinner, even if it was McDonald's.
Right. Right.
Now, if you're in my inner circle and you see that I feed my kids McDonald's like 4 times a week, yeah, please have a conversation with me and say, hey, I'm a little concerned. Can I bring you dinner?
Yeah. Hey, how are things going over there? Look, can I bring you dinner?
Do you need a freezer meal?
Right. Right. I think if we trust someone's opinion, they're someone who's important to us, who knows us and knows our hearts, and they bring something to us with love, we should consider that opinion.
Yes.
You know, because there are times, like, I'm never going to approach my friends with any kind of advice on anything unless A, I've been asked, or B, I feel like, whoa, this is a problem. And it needs to be addressed, you know?
Yeah.
And so filter through that.
Yes.
And let the other stuff go.
Yeah. There are no experts on your family on the internet.
Right. Zero.
None. No one has walked through your home with your family, seen your interactions, know what your family, how your family is made up, where your kids have come from, their backgrounds, their DNA, their biological factors, all of the things that make your kids who they are, that make you who you are, and know your struggles and the things that you're good at.
Right.
So what you need are real people in your real life, in your real home, who
that you walk closely with.
You trust. You trust their opinions, even if they don't do things exactly the way that you do, that you can take their word and their advice and know that it's coming from a place of love. Those are the kind of people that you need to be taking advice from, not the experts on the internet.
Right. And I think we could all do a better job at cheering each other on.
Yeah.
Shooting a text, having a phone call, reminding parents that, like, you're doing a great job. Your kids seem so happy. Your kids look so healthy. You know, I think you're a great mom.
Yeah, I remember early on when we first planted the church, my kids were older than most of the kids in our church. We
Still very young, but we had lots of babies.
Yes. And so I had an infant a couple months after we planted the church up to like a 9-year-old.
Right.
However much older Elijah is than Gideon, I'm not sure. But so that was kind of the range of our kids. And as our kids were getting older and other people didn't have kids my kids' ages, and all I felt like anyone ever said to me was, oh my goodness, your kid did this. And they said this, or they hit somebody, or, you know, I mean, it was like, every Sunday, I wanted to leave and go home and cry. And I wanted to never bring my kids back and never be around people because I felt like my parenting was being always, I mean, we were like in a fishbowl and everything my kids did was wrong. Right. Now, what people weren't taking into consideration is that we were getting there hours before everyone, that my kids had already gone through all of the things that could occupy them and all of the snacks and all of the...
They didn't see any of that, but they were there late the night before getting set up.
Yes. And so they may have misbehaved, but what I needed was for somebody to say, you know what, today I saw your kids share with somebody, and that was so kind. Like, I just needed some kind of positive reinforcement. Just a little something. I mean, and I was a new mom, even though it was my 5th kid. I had an infant, and I was crazy hormonal, too. So, like, you know, there's also a little bit of grace that needs to be given there. But I say all of that to say a sweet compliment can go so far for a mom. Right. And can really encourage her that, like, I'm not doing everything wrong.
Right. And what's so funny is, as kids got older, how many people started saying, hey, how can I get my kids to act like your kids? Because you realize real quick, because those babies aren't babies anymore, you can't control your kids' every move.
Yeah.
It terrifies me to send my kids into a room with other adults and be like, I don't know what they're going to do or say.
I know.
Especially one of them. Whenever I pick up, they're like, oh, listen to what this one said today. I'm like, I don't want to.
Can you please just tell it to your friends later?
I don't want to. I know, yeah, you're going to tell this story over and over again, and I'm fine with that. But, like, I don't want to carry it with me.
Oh, yeah.
I love my babies so much.
I know. I love all of them. And they also are, I can't control them.
Okay, so here's the last part about that. If you want to ruin a friendship with someone very quickly, keep talking bad about their kids to them.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. I love my babies, but and I know their faults.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not that I can't handle somebody saying, hey, they did this, you may want to talk to them about it, you know. But at the same time, like, I know so many other factors that go into those behaviors. And so if you are constantly nitpicking and I realize you don't like my kid at all, guess what? I don't want to spend time with you. And I don't want my kid around you. Yeah. Because I love those babies.
And I feel like that I'm their defender.
We are their defenders.
So, back up.
Yeah. So move along.
Because, like, that turns to Mama Bear really fast.
That's right. But for me, my deepest friendships are the ones that know and love my babies. And that I want to know and love my babies for the long haul because it's genuine and I know that it's going to build them up and they can see things and build things up in them that as their mother I'm not even able to do. And that's important to me. Like, as I build my circle, I'm also building their circle of influence.
Right.
And so, yeah, for sure, I prioritize the friends who, like, love my kids.
Yeah. And there's so often, and one of the things, especially if you have multiple kids, you're going to have kids that are really different than you.
Yes.
And so it's so important that I have Bailey, who I can go to, and she and Elijah have the same personality, and I can ask her questions. She's like, that makes total sense to me. And I'm like, I think it's nonsense. I don't understand. And in the same way, she'll tell me something that Aniston does, and I'm like, absolutely something I would have done as a child.
Right. And Aniston's so different than me.
Right.
That it's so hard for me I'm like, where does this come from?
And so it is not just, it's so helpful to have people different than you and who parent different than you, who have different personalities than you, to speak into that. Yes. But in a loving and gentle way, and in a way of, I want the best for your kids as much as you want the best for your kids.
Right. Well, and because I know that, there are times when I can tell April a story about Aniston, and she's like, this is going to be a struggle for her because of this. I think that you might want to nip that in the bud. Yeah. Because she has such a similar personality. She's walked through these things, and she can say, like, no, I always struggled with that. So you want to keep an eye on that. Yeah. That's helpful. It is. That is helpful parenting advice.
Yeah, instead of this.
Why did you let her have some red dye?
Yeah.
Yeah. My kid who can't eat anything. I love when somebody comes at me for something I let her have. And I'm like, she gets no treats.
Right. Do you know she can have no gluten or dairy?
Right.
Just think about your diet if you take those things out.
Right. Let the kid eat the cookie then, Anyway.
Goodness. So what we want to say about that as we wrap up about the mommy wars is, one, let's just show each other grace and love each other. Stop looking at other people as though what they're putting out on the internet is reality all the time, because we know that's not true. Right. And we're all doing the best we can. Right. And so get a circle of people around you who really know you, who can speak into your life. And I'm not saying don't read the blogs, don't listen to the podcast.
Don't try and, like, if you're having an issue and you need some help, like, sure, seek out the wisdom of some other people, but, like, filter it.
Yeah, and you don't have to take what worked for someone else as though it is law and that it should work for you.
Right.
So.
Right. All right, and then the last thing that we want to talk about, and I will try not to talk about this for 30 minutes. We're going to try and wrap this one up pretty soon. But, like, since we've talked this whole time about, like, being gentle with ourselves and not comparing ourselves to others and not letting other people's opinions have such a large impact on us in our day-to-day, let's extend that to our kids as well.
Yeah.
Let's stop comparing our kids to other kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even mean just in a way of that we do it internally. We look and we say, oh, I wish my kids would behave like this family, or I wish my kids got along like this. But verbalizing things to our kids that make them feel like crud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wish that you acted like this child.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that you could, I don't know.
Yeah.
When sports, people are so awful to their kids in sports. And it's like, I mean, maybe I'm in the minority here, but it's literally like, wow, you went out and you did that. That was so brave and you did so great.
You tried
and I'm so
something
proud
new.
of you.
I am so proud of you for trying.
I can't imagine, which we don't do baseball or contact sports or any, but like we swim. I can't imagine fussing at my kid and being like, why'd you lose?
Yeah. If you would have just done this, this, and this, you would have been
won.
faster or better. Or
Yeah. Like, no, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
All these people are watching you and you just jumped in that pool and swam across.
Yeah.
You did awesome. Good job.
Yes. And we've been swimming and dang.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's really hard. I'm going to be so much gentler with my kids this summer after practice. I'm going to be like, when they come
here,
and say
you need a snack.
Yeah. Last year they would come over to us and be like, we're so tired. And we're like, go back and finish swimming.
Get back out there.
You're fine.
You're fine.
Now I'm like, yeah, you probably are tired, but you're almost done, baby.
You can't breathe.
Yeah.
It's really hard when you can't breathe. I understand. And also, comparing your kids to other kids, what part of that is really that you are looking for your kids to supply something that is lacking in you? And in what ways are you looking to them because they make you look good?
Right.
And there is so much pride rooted in that. And it really, like, I started to see some of that in myself. And it is, I mean, one of my worst moments as a parent when I realized that I was looking at my kids to make me look good to other people. And
that's easy to fall into.
Yeah.
Even consciously trying not to, it's easy to fall into.
But that's scary.
It is.
When you say it out loud, it really is pretty disgusting.
But I think whenever you have that heart check and you really start to be conscious of it, you can fight against it easier. And then you start doing things like, this sounds bad, but like I get annoyed whenever I go to the honors assemblies. Mm-hmm. Even when my kids are getting things. Because I'm like, but there are kids here who maybe don't make straight A's, but they're working really hard. Mm-hmm. Where's the hardest worker award?
Right.
You know what I mean? And we actually went, April and I, our kids are at the same school. We were sitting at an honors assembly where someone stood up and they started talking about, these kids are the best of the best.
The ones who got these awards today are the top of the class, the best of the best. And every kid in the school was sitting there.
And I looked at April, I'm like, these babies who aren't getting an award are feeling like trash.
Yeah.
You know? And I think we have to be conscious of that when we're talking to, whenever we celebrate one kid, that's okay. But we can't tear down the others. Yeah. You can say, I'm so proud of all the hard work you did, without saying that makes you the best.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that as parents, we have to retrain our brains to really see the gifts in our different kids and to call those things out and to celebrate. Because I have a kid who has a harder time in school than my other kids, but is one of the quickest friends that anyone can meet. Everyone in his class thinks that he's their best friend.
And you know what? That is going to take him so far.
Yeah. And every teacher he's ever had has, like, adored him as a person. Not because he was at the top of the class, not because he was a teacher's pet, but because you can look across the room and smile at him because you know that he's thinking something funny when something funny happened.
Right.
And he's very quick-witted. And those are all skills that I want to encourage in him and to say, I'm so proud of you. You're such a good friend. You're so
Right.
kind. You see other people. And I don't care if you made the highest grade on that test.
Right. Right. Yeah, the grade stuff is so hard.
Yeah.
Because
And the sports.
did you do
and
your best? Yes. Well, then
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of your best.
Yeah. And we
Truly.
don't advocate everybody gets a trophy.
No, absolutely not. No, I want my kids to know how to lose.
Yeah.
Gracefully, for sure. And I want them to know that even when they lose, I'm still proud of who they are as a person.
Right.
And I'm not mad, and I'm not sad, and I'm not upset. I'm proud to be their mom, and I'm, like, so thankful that I get to spend the time with them that I get to spend with them as their parent.
Yeah. So I guess the encouragement in that is to just get to know your kids really.
Yes.
And stop looking at whatever the standard you have set of what's successful for them and what makes them look good and what makes you look good. And instead, like, just start to call out the good things that you see in them. Because when they leave your house, they need a really, really solid foundation of their gifts.
Yes.
And what they have to offer.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going to tell them that they have something to offer, and it may not be what you want them to offer.
Right.
And I want my kids to leave my home knowing that they have so many things in them that are good and worthy of praise, and that they are things that are glorifying and honoring to God and not something that is so that other people can use them.
Right. These years that we have when we're speaking into them, we're helping them right now form their own inner voice that they're going to carry with them for the rest of their life. That is a big job.
Yeah.
That it's easy to forget. And the way that we talk about ourselves, the way that we talk about our friends and our family, the way we talk about our kids, and the way we talk about other kids and other people's kids, all those things are going to shape how they talk about their friends, their family, their children, themselves. Like, and so when we're doing this whole series on comparison and trying to fight it and trying to pull it out of ourselves. Like, let's try to extend the gift to our kids to, like, not put all of this in them.
Yes.
While we have the opportunity.
And not to put that weight on them. That we, you know, some of us are coming out from under a lot of bad thinking for a long time.
Yes.
And we have an opportunity to change that voice for our kids. And so let's be a part of making a better solution.
Yes.
Instead of furthering the really critical inner voice.
Right. And at the root of it, like, we have to be kind for that to happen.
Yeah.
And as human beings, I truly believe for us to be truly, truly kind and loving, like, that extends from the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
And the only way for us to get there is to open up our day with the Lord.
And to visit that regularly.
Yes.
You know, we have to come back to Him in a very, I mean, it happens often.
Yeah.
Throughout the day of, I'm out of patience.
Right.
I need some help. I'm out of love. I'm out of kindness, because His supply never runs dry.
Right.
The well is never ending that we can scoop from His love and His grace and His kindness, because ours is very, very shallow.
Right.
What we can muster up on our own is very small.
Right.
So that's where the source has to be.
Right. There are times where I even will pray, like, whenever I'm so frustrated with my children, that I'll just pray, break my heart for them right now. Show me a reason I should show compassion.
Yeah.
You know, show me my love for them. And He will do that.
Yeah.
But I have to intentionally go there sometimes of, like, I'm just mad. So I need something to show me why I don't need to just be mad.
My pride is hurt.
Yes.
Or I'm frustrated because you're not just conforming to my will.
Right. My patience is run out because yours is out. You little person.
Right.
Who has only been alive for a few years. I'm now out of patience because you ran out of patience. You know, it's just a
crazy
thing
you to get yourself together, but I just lost it.
Right.
Yeah.
Why is everybody going crazy? You know, it's like, oh my gosh.
You are now the crazy one.
So, anyway, let's just be kind.
Yeah.
And let's remember where that comes from, and that is the basis of the Nestled in Him series.
Yeah.
Is that We are looking to the one who matters. We're looking to the opinion who matters.
Right.
Like, our job here is to run this race well.
Right.
Our job is not to win first place.
Yeah.
Our job is not to be the best and the brightest. Our kids' job is not to be the best and the brightest. Like, if you win accolades across, along the way, great. We'll celebrate that. But those don't matter.
They don't matter.
There's no eternal value in that.
No. And let's put our eyes on things that are eternal and celebrate those things big.
Right.
Let's really celebrate those things. Let's celebrate the way that you love other people. Let's celebrate whenever you have struggled and struggled and struggled to get along with your brother or sister, and then you have shown such kindness to them. Mm-hmm. Let's celebrate that more than the straight A's.
Right.
And I think that sometimes we overlook the things that really matter.
Absolutely.
And make a big deal about the things that don't. You know, you lost the soccer game. Oh, well. But you went over and helped that girl up when she fell down. You know, like, let's put our eyes on things that matter.
Right. I saw you genuinely say good job to a few of the other teammates, and that made me proud to see you do that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
resetting our expectations, making them clear, and loving people well. And it starts in our homes.
It does.
And it extends beyond there. So...
yeah, we hope that you will continue doing the hard work of examining yourself and seeing all the areas that comparison is lying to you.
Yeah.
And just, like...
and then it's robbing you.
It's robbing you so much.
So
joy. Let's just let it go.
Yeah.
And we're all going to be happier, and we're all going to love people better, and we're all going to be able to extend grace more quickly to others because we're going to be extending it to ourselves.
Yeah, and we're going to walk in freedom. Like, I just don't want that junk anymore.
Right. So we hope that encourages some of you.
Yes. You're doing a great job, Mom.
You're doing a great job. Next week, we'll be back talking about comparison and the home.
The home. So we're bringing it back around. We wanted to end on the home because that's really our most passionate subject. I know it seems like maybe Mommy Wars is our most passionate subject.
But it's the home.
Be in for a treat next week.
Yeah. We will try to come up with something good to say.
Yes. So our challenge for you this week is to... whether it's that if your kids are on social media, feel free to post it there. Or you can even post it there as a reminder that you can look back at it because you'll have a reminder next year to see it. But call out the things that you see in your kids that are good and that are honorable and that are godlike, and the ways that you see giftings in them that don't have anything to do with what they do.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with like you did this, so I am proud of you. No, because you are this person, I'm proud of you, and I love you.
And just things you enjoy about them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's our hashtag Nestled in Him.
Yeah.
Challenge for this week. So use the hashtag, call out your babies.
Yes.
And then maybe one day next year, whenever it pops back up, you're like, oh yeah, they are wonderful.
I do love you.
I need to come back around to that.
Yeah. So we appreciate you guys hanging with us. Thank you for taking a peek in our nest.
We hope you come back next week. As always, the door will be open.